I myself am a Canadian, and having left Canada a decade ago, I understand the struggles, trials, and somewhat tribulations of now residing in Canada with new laws coming into play. While traveling the globe for the last decade, I've lived long term in Asia, Europe, and in Latin America, and have a unique perspective on what each of these continents offer to foreigners and specifically Canadians who are looking to leave Canada full time and to relocate their income, their assets, and themselves and their families abroad. So, in this video, we're going to dive into some of the best countries for Canadians to retire in and give you a few options across the globe. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Nicole of Work, Wealth, and Travel, where we speak about all things global citizen diversification, whether that be obtaining additional residencies, citizenships, tax optimized company formations, or overseas bank accounts so that you can diversify and shelter your money. We assist in all of these processes across 25 countries throughout the globe. So let's dive into the first continent. And this is a very lucrative continent that we're seeing many, not only Canadians, but also Americans, Europeans, and Australians and Kiwis who are looking to relocate, whether it be part time to start or go all in and relocate full time. And this is in Latin America. Now, Latin America right now is a very unique place in the world simply because they offer various different lucrative residency programs, easier pathways to citizenship than in most other continents, and various interesting options for opening non resident bank accounts. Of course, you can open resident accounts once you are a resident, but non resident banking is very important when you're really getting this journey initially underway. So, first and foremost, diving into Latin America, there are various different countries here in Latin America that we find are typically interesting to those looking to relocate abroad. Now, if you're looking for options in terms of diversifying your residency and also paying a much lower tax rate, potentially 0 to 10%, then the jurisdictions you're going to be looking into are jurisdictions such as Uruguay, Panama, and Paraguay. Now, these all operate in some way or another as territorial tax jurisdictions, which is very beneficial if you are making your income or your passive income from abroad. However, the key initially is that you're going to need to get out of your home country's tax system. And in this case, that is going to be Canada. Depending on the assets and the family that you have within Canada, it can range from very straightforward to leave the country to much more difficult and really needing to understand the nuances of your last filing and what you're still going to have in the country, along with any potential business that you're still going to have in the country of Canada. We work specifically with expat accountants and lawyers within Canada to assist our clients and know that they're in great hands to really ensure that they leave the Canadian system properly and that that is all documented properly with the CRA while paying any fees that are needed throughout the process so that at no point in time they can be clawed back into the Canadian system. So these jurisdictions in one way or another operate as territorial tax systems, which are very interesting when you're starting to leave your home country and your income is sourced from abroad. However, there are various different jurisdictions within Latin America that are great in terms of a lifestyle component. So the first one is Mexico. Many Canadians, many Americans, of course, are relocating to Mexico. However, we have seen quite a few changes in various different immigration policies, even in this year alone in Mexico. Not to mention, at the beginning of every year on January 1st, the income amount increases. If you are looking to obtain a residence permit in Mexico, that income amount will increase. We're also expecting various different changes to the residency program once there is a new government in power in Mexico. And so this is something that we're always keeping a pulse on in order to really understand if Mexico is going to be a long-term destination that's interesting to our clients or a short-term destination where if you can get in now, that's great, but it's not going to be an option for the long term. However, just a few months ago, Mexico was a very interesting option to clients. The policies have changed. Not everyone can get in on the residency program, but clients that are still able to apply for this program, it is a very lucrative program for them. So Mexico, if this is your destination of choice, or if you're really looking for residency diversification, this can be an interesting option. Colombia is another interesting option where if you're looking to purchase real estate in markets that have the potential for a quite high yield, then Colombia is a very interesting option for a lot of our clients. Now, Colombia again is very much so a lifestyle play as well as a residency diversification option. As I myself personally did not love Colombia, however, we work with many clients who absolutely love Bogota, Medellin, or Cartagena. So it very much so depends not only on the diversification options that you're looking for, but also on the lifestyle that you're wanting to plan in the medium to longer term. Now, in a nearby region of Latin America, we have the Caribbean. So the Caribbean is not going to be a very beneficial diversification option in terms of residency, unless, of course, you are planning to live in a country within the Caribbean for the medium to longer term. However, the Caribbean is an interesting option for citizenship. However, these citizenship options can be very interesting and lucrative for the right person if you're really obtaining these citizenships for the right reason. We also recently saw news that in Dominica, there were 68 individuals who got their citizenship revoked and their identities banned from ever applying for citizenship in these countries again. To me, this really highlights the importance of needing to work with a licensed team on the ground because while these 68 individuals may not have done anything wrong, simply working with the wrong provider and the wrong professional can unfortunately taint your name for the long term. So it is very important to work with a team on the ground who understands the process and can swiftly guide you through the process that you can expect when you're working your way toward obtaining citizenship, as there is a lengthy due diligence process for most citizenship applications around the globe. So you want to know what you can expect before going into the process. Now, next up, we're going to move over to Europe. Europe has been a lucrative option in the past. However, unfortunately, it is becoming less and less so to most foreigners. Now, there are still very interesting schemes in countries like Italy, France, and Portugal to a degree. However, the direction that Europe is heading in is not a direction that we at Work, Wealth, and Travel are very bullish. Europe has increasingly unfriendly laws to foreigners. The Portugal Golden Visa has had recent changes where there is no longer a real estate investment option. And your most likely option that you are going to use to obtain the Golden Visa in Portugal is going to be through a fund setup. Short term rental platforms such as Airbnb are really being cracked down on in various countries, and Spain is a great example of this in Europe. And overall, we see the direction, especially of Western Europe, not being a direction that we are working with many of our clients on in order to obtain additional diversification, residency, citizenship, and company formation options. A lot of work that we do is within Latin America simply because of these more lucrative options that we see in Latin America that other continents around the globe are just not offering. However, if we move over to Eastern Europe, an interesting program is Turkey's CBI program, their Citizenship by Investment program, which currently stands at 400,000 US dollars in real estate, whether it be one property or multiple properties, as long as that equals 400,000, then that will qualify you for the process of working through to get your Turkish citizenship. Now, this is a pricing that has been around for a few short years' time. However, we do foresee this pricing changing likely to 600,000, if not more, within the next year or two. So this is a change that we do foresee within the Turkish CBI program market. And if you are interested in obtaining whether it be Turkish CBI or any of these programs, as we always say on this channel, you really do want to get in on the program now while it's still available. So if you are interested in obtaining an additional residency, working your way towards citizenship, or opening an additional bank account, especially as a non resident, this is something that you really want to get in on now before jurisdictions change. So, last but not least, we're going to move over to Asia. Asia has been somewhat of a friendly jurisdiction in terms of residence permits and diversification options in the past, although we typically see those who are wanting to live in Asia and take advantage of the few options that Asia does have in order to gain additional residencies and bank accounts is usually more so from a lifestyle perspective. Most clients are simply not only looking to obtain residence in Asia for a backup diversification option, but it's really if they're wanting to live in the country part time or full time, work their way toward residency, even work their way towards citizenship. And in this case, if you really enjoy the lifestyle of, say, Thailand or Malaysia, that is when it's going to be more interesting to work your way toward these programs, not to simply have it as a diversification option when you're not truly living. An interesting program that we do work with clients with within Asia is the Malaysia My Second Home program. Again, for those who are interested in the lifestyle of Malaysia and really wanting to live there in the medium to long term and work their way toward residency. However, in the past, Thailand has also been an interesting option for many of our clients as Thailand is an amazing destination to live, whether it be for half the year or for the full year. However, the Thai tax policy has changed somewhat in just the last year or two. We are still unclear on what this taxation is really going to settle on and what the government is going to end up settling on, whether it's worldwide taxation, more of a territorial system, or potentially something in between. However, Thailand was always in the past a very interesting destination, as if you were not bringing any money into the country for said year, then you would not be paying tax in Thailand on this income. However, recently there have been more talks within the government of a simple worldwide taxation system. So this may mean that Thailand becomes less of an attractive destination from a tax perspective for foreigners. Very much so, still may be an interesting destination from a lifestyle perspective for the right person who loves spending time in Thailand, but it may not carry the same tax advantages as it has. And if you are Canadian and you're looking for additional relocation options, whether it be to start the journey and relocate part time or to really get the plans in place and potentially relocate full time while also having banking diversification outside of Canada. And trust me, I understand the importance of this. Reach out to us below. You can become a client by booking in an initial consult with us, and we're happy to dive into your case further. Click the video on the screen now if you're interested in learning more about your global citizen diversification options, and I'll see you there.